Hi Greedy 3Ders, do you find yourself constantly shaking your acrylic paints, your Army Painter, Vallejo, Citadel, day in, day out? If only there was an easier way of doing it. Stay tuned. So here we have the Vortex Stirrer. This is the box. I'm always a little bit sceptical when I have a box that I can't really read anything at all on, short of a couple of lines. But in the same token, this is said box, that is said item. Let's see what is in the box. Let's unbox the thing. I'm not going to tell you at this stage how much this is, so make sure you tune in to the end and I will tell you how much this is. If you're wondering what it is, it's a paint stirrer. It is a Vortex paint stirrer, and I have used the Vortex paint stirrers for a while now, but I've seen reviews for this one, and to be fair, this one looks, if I can get it out of the box.
How long is this going to take?
There you go, that's everything out of the box. We are getting some instructions. Now it's good to see that the instructions are included in good old English, so we can have a little play with those, have a read of those and see what we have got. Instructions in a different language, I think that's Chinese, so I'll pop them to one side until I learn Chinese. Charging wise, it has got a USB-C cable, so I need to find myself an adapter to charge that with, and then we have the actual bit of kit itself, and let's just take that off. Okay, so there we go. What do we first think about it? Okay, feels fairly sturdy in the hand. This thing here is like, well, that's quite stiff. That will hold things really well. In fact, that's really stiff. I dare say that will perhaps loosen up with a bit of time, but it's almost like a hair grip, a hair clip of some kind, and that will hold the paints in. At the bottom there we've got a little bit of rubber. You heard that noise there when I lifted it up. You've got suction cups. In fact, you've got 3, 6, 9, 12 suction cups on the bottom and another piece of rubber. That leads me to believe this thing will vibrate like Billy-O. We've obviously got a power selector here, which will, I assume, the more you turn it up, the more it will shimmy shake the things around. So I guess the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Let's get this thing powered up and let's see just how we get on shimmy shaking the paints with it. So let's just have a look at it with the power on. Obviously, the more you turn, the more power you're going to get, the faster it's going to shake, and when you turn it up to maximum, oh boy, do you get some shimmer shake action. Now, one thing I did notice was when it's settled down and you are running it, doesn't move anywhere. As soon as you put it on maximum, it can actually just vibrate itself across the surface a little bit, and that's with it actually stuck down. So I did notice it moving, especially when I got a big bottle in, so we'll keep an eye on that. But let's try some paints in it. Let's start off with a classic paint. This is a Vallejo paint. It's we're going to use it with an Army Painter paint size. This is one of those typical bottles that contains so much of this stuff anyway. I'm going to clip it in. Okay, and I'm going to pop it on and have a look at that. And there you go, the shaking process begins. Now, one of the things you must make sure you do with this is get those lids tightly on. I do not want to be explaining to Mrs. Greedy how I have got Tesseract Glow or Army Painter skeleton bone all over the windows and floors and me. So make sure that that lid is on, because when this thing starts vibrating, my god, does it start doing its job. What I'll do after as well, I will show you each of these paints after they've had around about 30 seconds to a minute, and I'll put a note what it's going to be of shaking in them, so you can see what they look like when they're physically down on a piece of paper. But look at that, that's doing the job. absolutely no question at all. Let's go on to something a little bit different. This one now is a Citadel paint. This is Tesseract Glow. Let's give that a blast, and I'm sure you agree, thank God that lid is on, that it's doing the shaky job absolutely perfectly. Now, for how long you do these for, I think will depend on what paint it is, what the manufacturer guidance is, but I reckon you will soon learn how much you need to give it, and it also will depend on how often you use that paint, because I've got paints that I have had sat around for probably, with no exaggeration, years not using them. So if I wanted to use one of those colours, I would suggest that what will happen is I'm going to need to leave it in this thing for a darn sight longer to run. This clip being tight, I can actually see why it is so tight now, because if it wasn't, we would be losing these paints all over the place. So it needs to be tight. This is it's an army painter paint. It's a bit of a bigger bottle. Let's try that one. I'm getting more confidence with this the more that I use it, and I've not used it before today, but I can see that this is doing everything that it says it's going to do. Now, when we come to the price, I think you will be a little bit surprised at it. In a good way or a bad way, we'll yet to be seen, but you will be a little bit surprised, I think, at the price of this, and I'll be really interested to hear right now, before you find out the price, just drop in the comments what you think it's going to cost. Is it going to be a little bit of money? Is it going to be a lot of money? Let me know down in the comments. No problems with a bottle of that size. Let's try something a bit different. This one now is some Vallejo liquid mask. You gotta shake this one up. You gotta shake this one good. Will it fit? Yeah, look at that, straight in. Let's give it a shimmy, and it's shaking beautifully. Now, as you know, liquid mask is a wonderful thing, but if it's not shaken up properly, you can have all sorts of problems with it. So this thing will do the job lovely. I'm all right with that. I wonder how long you can leave this on for before it automatically turns off, if at all. I did read somewhere it is a minute, but I don't think that'll be the case. I think it'll be probably longer than that, but it'd be interesting to give it a test. I might just do that, but I'm not going to do that now because that would just bore you guys. Silly. Let's try a bigger bottle. This one is another Green Stuff World bottle. Sorry, I thought it was Army Painter. It's not, and it's a big one. Let's pop this one in, and again, the circumference of this is not a problem. It's going to do it fine. You'll notice there's more vibration with the taller bottles that you're using, so I think you need to be a little bit careful. And I've just felt some of my models fall over and I'm causing some chaos in the corner. It does vibrate. You've got to absolutely accept that it vibrates. So when you're using something like a bigger bottle on a higher speed, I think you've just got to be careful there's no models around you that you're going to break or lose bits of. So be mindful of that. I'll tell you the other one I tried on it is this. This is Panel Line Accent Colour, and I can tell you for a fact that it don't fit. It don't fit at all, and I'm not going to break it by trying to squeeze it in. So these kind of bottles don't fit. Last and by no means least, I've got one of these game colour bottles. This is a little bit bigger than the Vallejo ones. It's a little bit chunkier, and come on, let's be honest, we know it's going to work, isn't it? Let's get it in there and give it a shake, and yep, that's going to work absolutely no problems. I am relatively pleased with this. I've got to be honest, I didn't know what to expect with it. I thought it would probably do the job, but I didn't think it would do the job as good as it's doing. And I will show you in a minute all these paints, once I've stirred them, what they're going to look like. Now, what's interesting is this paint and also the Army Painter paint here. I haven't used these in ages and ages, so this one especially I haven't used it in probably 2 years, so I'm going to give this one about 30 seconds and see what it comes out like, and I'll tell you how long I'm going to need to use it before it gets mixed enough to paint properly. So we'll do that. This one again, I haven't used this one in about 3 months ish, so we'll give that one a blast as well. But come on, they work. It does what it's doing on the job. It does what it's doing on the tin. This is really good. So cost wise, well, what did we pay for this? Well, this was a gift from Mrs. Greedy to me for my birthday. Thank you, Mrs. Greedy. And I'll put it on the screen now of what we paid for it. As you can see, I paid £76.99 at the moment, and this is only while I'm doing this video. We've got a price of £58.18 with an extra 5% off. Now, that may be different when you get to your purchase of it, if indeed you choose to purchase it, because of all these bleeding tariffs that are going on. I'm not going to get involved in the politics, but you might pay a bit more due to wherever you may be with the tariffs. I personally don't think it's worth that kind of money. Although I do think it's a wonderful bit of kit, I do think it works really, really well, and I do absolutely love it. But is it worth sort of what we paid for it, 76 quid? Or the wonderful Mrs. Greedy, who obviously I love to bits, who bought me this for my birthday. Thank you, Mrs. Greedy. I don't think it's worth £76 of anybody's money. What do you think? Leave me down in the comments, A, what you think about the price I paid for it, or Mrs. Greedy paid for it, and also what do you think it should cost? Should this thing be £10, £20, £30? I reckon around about 30 quid, and that should be the cost that you pay for it. Now, I used to use a Vortex paint cleaner. Let me just show you some footage of that working here. Now, the things I didn't like about the Vortex cleaner was you had to physically hold your paint on it, which means you couldn't just put it to one side and let it stir on its own. Where you can with this one, you can just leave this one to one side and use the stir up the paint you're going to be using after the one you've got in your hand. But you couldn't do that with the Vortex one. Also, I found when you held it on, it vibrated your fingers, and when you'd finished, if you'd done it for about a minute or so, your hand was a little bit trembly and shaky. So I didn't really like that, but I like this. I will be using this. You'll see me using this in my videos going forward. Let me know what you think about this paint stirrer. So let's just see the difference that it makes on a paint. Now, these paints I haven't used for a long time, starting off with this war paint, and you can see that straight away it's pumping out almost liquid with no real colour in it at all. So let's give it a mix for 2 minutes and try it again, and you can see quite clearly the difference in the texture and the colour there. We have now got a paint, and that's after 2 minutes at a medium setting on the stirrer. Again, with this violet red, this is a Vallejo colour. Starting off with, we've just got a very pale liquidy colour. 2 minutes later, on a medium shimmy shake, you have got a really nice violet colour. And that's all it took really, was 2 minutes on a medium shake, and it's mixed it up absolutely beautifully. The next thing I just want to have a quick look at is a decibel meter. Here you can see that with nothing going on, it was on about 24. Let's put it on low. It takes it up to around about 39, 49. Up to a medium high, okay, 55, and then when we whop it up all the way to maximum, of course it's going to be a little bit louder. And we've got about just under 70 decibels for this meter, so it's not going to break any sound barriers, but it's not exactly quiet in the corner of the room. If you like what you see today, please subscribe to the channel. If you're a new viewer to the channel or you haven't already done so, please subscribe. These subscriptions absolutely make all the difference to Old Greedy 3D. They really do. So hit that subscribe button. It's quick, it's free, it's simple, and it won't take you a second to do. If you want to join the Greedy 3D Patreon, you can do so. All the details will be down below. If you're in a paid tier, you get a couple of free STL files. But most importantly, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this stirry machiney thing. Let me know if you'd buy one. Let me know if you wouldn't buy one. Is it too expensive, etc, etc. Leave me all the information you can think of about what you think of this thing. I quite like it, but I wouldn't pay 76 quid for it. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed that. I can't wait to play with it, to be absolutely honest. Let me know what you think. See you next time on Greedy 3D.